Hello there, this is Sam, and I want to start this podcast off a little differently. In fact, I'm going to tell you a story, and this story has a point, so I'm going to get to it. But I want to start with me being a kid. That is, young Sam, kid Sam, right? So, both my parents are teachers. My dad still teaches, my mum's retired, but when I was a kid, I saw them both being teachers, and they had a lot of work, and they were stressed. And, I looked at them, and I saw they were stressed, and I saw how much marking of kids' books they were doing in the evening, and I always said to myself, wow, I would never be a teacher. There's no way I'm going to be a teacher. It's so not cool. And I guess most kids often think a lot of what their parents do and what their parents say isn't cool. So for me, there was no way I was going to be a teacher. No way. And it's weird. It's weird what happens when you get older, right? Because I thought video games were cool and I liked computers. So I went to university and I studied artificial intelligence. And I ended up living in a few different countries. I moved around. But I've ended up in California and I work in video games now. So that was my childhood dream, I suppose you could say. But it's interesting what's happened in the last few years, because I've realized more and more how much I love to teach. From teaching people at work things, to teaching my friends things, to doing this podcast. And, when I go back to thinking of myself as a child and what I used to think about my parents, it's interesting to me now because I realize there is a joy in teaching and a satisfaction and a happiness you get from helping people. And now I understand why my parents loved that job so much, despite the stress that they had and despite the hours that they were spending at home working. And so now I am here doing the podcast and teaching people all over the world and getting these emails that I get, which always make me feel amazing. And so I'm going to get to the point here. So, like I said, I still work as an engineer or a software engineer, programmer on my day-to-day job. I get up, I go to work, I come back, I eat, and I podcast now. Especially because I'm going to podcast every day from now on, or every weekday at least. And it gives me so much energy to have interaction with you guys. So I want to ask you all a favor. And if you find the podcast cool or informative or otherwise valuable, there's a few things you can do for me which will help me. And I'd like to just put a request out there to all of you. If you can, do one of these things. It's going to give me energy, it's going to help me, and it's going to help promote the podcast. So if you like this, or if it's useful to you, please go to iTunes and leave a review. So go to the iTunes store page for the podcast and leave a review. Just be honest. Also, you can go to the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/VictorPrep learning, or you can just search for VictorPrep on there. That helps too. It helps promote the podcast. Also, you could just tell your friends if they think it's going to be interesting or useful or worthwhile. You could also just follow me on Twitter. I'm at samfold, SAMFOLD, and just say hello or thank me. That's always cool. Or you can just email me at sam@victorprep.com. So any of those things does help me and is really appreciated. Also, I have started adding more content to the website, which is VictorPrep.com. For each episode going forward, I'm adding example sentences to the website. And I'm working on some additional articles and content there too. So keep checking back on the website, keep checking back on the Facebook page, like the Facebook page, share it, tell your friends. All of this helps me. It helps me keep my energy high to come back home from work every evening and work on this stuff. So thank you all so much. It's a privilege to teach you guys and to share my excitement about words. However nerdy it is, I think it's freaking awesome. So anyway, after that very long interruption to our daily schedule, I'm going to get on with episode 52 of the VictorPrep Vocab podcast. Let's get started by reviewing the words from episode 51. Cupidity. Cupidity. That is a greed for money or possessions, a greed for material wealth. Digression. Digression. A digression is a temporary departure from the main subject, usually in writing or a speech. To opine. To opine. That is to formally state as your opinion. So you're stating your opinion about something. And our final word from last time was sagacious. Sagacious. That means showing wisdom, showing good judgment, to be shrewd. Oh, and I almost forgot my quote for the day. And I absolutely love this quote. And also, the author of this quote, the man called Kurt Vonnegut. If you're going to read a book soon, a new fiction book, please pick up a Kurt Vonnegut book. He's an absolutely wonderful writer. So amazing. Just do me a favor. Please read Sirens of Titan or Slaughterhouse-5 or Cat's Cradle. I love those books. If you read them and love them, email me about it, okay? But the quote is, "We have to continually be jumping off cliffs and developing our wings on the way down." So, without further ado, here are our new words. First word, eulogy. Eulogy. That's spelled E-U-L-O-G-Y. Eulogy. A eulogy is a speech or a piece of writing that praises something or someone highly. The most common usage of eulogy is usually at a funeral. At a funeral, there's normally one or more people who deliver a speech or speeches about the person who died. And those speeches are usually praising them highly. So they're eulogies. So eulogy is quite an easy word, I think, to remember, because there's a few clues there that give us an idea about what it might mean. So first of all, it starts with the letters EU. EU is always a sign that a word is positive, because EU comes from the Greek meaning well, and the rest of the word, logy, L-O-G-Y, comes from the Greek word logos, which means word. So eulogy sort of means good word, or well word. So if you can remember a word like euphoria, euphoria is a feeling of intense happiness or intense excitement. You know euphoria is a positive word. You also might know the word euphony. Euphony. Euphony means well-sounding. So if you can remember that EU means positive, you're already close to knowing the meaning of eulogy. Some synonyms of eulogy are accolade, tribute, compliment, commendation, or panegyric. So, eulogy, speech or piece of writing that praises someone. Our second word is libertine. Libertine. Amazing word. A libertine, spelled L-I-B-E-R-T-I-N-E. A libertine is a person, but in literature, a libertine is often a man, but a libertine can be a woman too. But a libertine is a person who behaves without moral principles or without much of a sense of responsibility. So, imagine someone who's a bit of a playboy or parties a lot. They don't really care what other people think about them. They'll just do whatever they want. They don't listen to the laws of society or the rules of society. If they want, they'll party all night, they'll go drinking, they'll do whatever. They are a libertine. A libertine can also mean someone who just rejects normally accepted opinions, or a free thinker. But often it does imply someone who is a bit of a party animal, does their own thing, doesn't have much of a sense of morals, and so on. There was a famous British band in the last 10 years called the Libertines, and their lead singer was a guy called Pete Doherty, and by all accounts he was a libertine. He was very famous for his lifestyle, partying, drinking a lot, doing various other things. So, yeah, Pete Doherty was definitely a libertine. Our third word is pare, pare, and that's pare spelled P-A-R-E, not P-A-I-R. So it's pare, P-A-R-E. So pare has a number of meanings, and we're going to go through them all, but they all are generally meaning something similar. So pare can mean cutting off the outer skin of something, like paring the skin off an apple. And paring can also just in general mean trimming something by cutting away its outer edge. So you could say you pared your nails down. So you trimmed your nails down. You could say you pared off the skin of an avocado. And pare can also mean reducing anything, usually in a succession of small stages. So you could say the number of teachers that the school had was gradually pared down. So the number of teachers was gradually made smaller in small increments. So this general meaning of pare is to make something smaller or reduce something in size in a succession of small steps. So anything could be pared down. So some synonyms are reduce, decrease, cut back, cut down, trim, prune, curtail, slim down. So yeah, this is a very versatile word. It can be used with physical things. It can be used with non-physical things. But yeah, pare, to reduce something in size or quantity or number, usually in a number of small steps. And our final word is morose. Morose. To be morose means to be sulky, sullen, and ill-tempered. Oh, and it's spelled M-O-R-O-S-E, morose. So, yes, morose means to be sulky, ill-tempered, gloomy, and grumpy. So, imagine one of those days when you got out of bed the wrong way, it's raining outside, you're waiting for the bus and a car zooms by and soaks you, and you get into work or you get into school and you're just kind of irritated and peevish. And your friends want to talk to you and you're not interested, you're grumpy. That's being morose. Another word that is often linked with morose is to be gloomy, to be pessimistic or negative about the future. If you imagine someone who's a misanthrope, one of our previous words, a misanthrope will often be morose. Some other synonyms are unhappy, irritable, churlish, crabby, cranky, snappish. I think you get the idea. So those were all our words. Let's quickly review them. Eulogy. Eulogy. That's a speech or piece of writing that praises someone, that says really good things about a person or a thing. Libertine. Libertine. That's a person. Often in writing you'll find it could be a man, but that doesn't stop a libertine being a woman either. But it's a man or woman who behaves without moral principles, they don't show a sense of responsibility, they reject generally accepted opinions, they could be a free thinker, someone who goes against the norms of society. Pare, P-A-R-E, remember. That means to reduce something in size or quantity, usually in a succession of small stages, or to trim something by cutting away its outer edges, like paring the skin off a potato. And our final word is morose. Morose. That means ill-tempered, gloomy, sulky, or glum. Now, here are the test sentences. Just try and work out which word I'm referring to. The big corporation gradually reduced its workforce after its new project was a total disaster. Pare. My cat Roger was always so grumpy when I woke him up in the morning. He would scowl at me and make moody-sounding meows. Morose. When the great man died, I gave a speech about all his achievements and how he would be missed. I barely made it through without breaking down in tears. Eulogy. Johnny lived a wild life when he was younger, partying hard, up all night, sleeping all day. He didn't care what anyone else thought. He was a true original. Libertine. So gang, thanks for listening. This was a slightly longer episode today because of my extra long speech at the start, but it's okay anyway. Please, like I said at the start, leave a review, send me an email, like the Facebook page, check out the website, tell someone about the podcast. But yeah, or just follow me on Twitter. I'm at Samfold. So anyway, thank you so much. I will see you for another episode tomorrow. Have an awesome day. Take it easy. Bye-bye.